Hey folks, it's GP here from the D4H Customers team. This video series on multi-factor authentication aims to highlight the importance of the feature, how you can set it up, and how you can manage it so that you can have a peace of mind when accessing your D4H account data. Almost every single day, we hear about some sort of a cybersecurity related breaches, and therefore having multi-factor authentication is paramount for your online security. It helps you not only to protect your accounts from being compromised by any unauthorized users by simply adding an extra layer of security, but also it reduces password risks whilst meeting regulatory or security compliances that your organization or your team may have in place. Let's take a look at how we can set up multi-factor authentication for your D4H profile. First, let's take a look at how a brand new user can set up multi-factor authentication for their D4H profile. As a brand new user, this is how your invitation email is going to appear. Then open up the invitation email and click here to activate icon on the email. As part of the sign up process, you'll be requested to set up the multi-factor authentication for your profile. Over here, you'll be given the option to set up the multi-factor authentication using an app authenticator. You have the option to use mobile SMS. And lastly, if you wish to not set up the multi-factor authentication for your D4H profile, you can select the skip now option and then click into next. Now let's take a look at how you can set up the multi-factor authentication using an authenticator application. By default, the system would select authenticator app as the selection option because it is the most secure option to use when it comes to setting up multi-factor authentication. From here, click into next. The system will now generate a unique QR code that is related for your D4H profile's multi-factor authentication. You can use any mobile app authenticator of your choice to scan the QR code. From here, simply use an app authenticator to scan the QR code. There are so many app authenticators out there, and some of the most common ones are Google, Microsoft, 1Password, and it is totally up to the customer to use any app authenticator of their choice to scan the QR code and set up the multi-factor authentication. I went ahead and set up the multi-factor authentication using Google App Authenticator, and I added the 6-digit code that my app authenticator generated to this field, and I'm going to click into next. Finally, the system will give you a confirmation saying the multi-factor authentication has been enabled using an app authenticator for your D4H profile. After that, simply follow the on-screen instructions to complete setting up your profile. Next, let's take a look at how we can set up multi-factor authentication using mobile SMS. In order to set up two-factor authentication via SMS, select the second option and click into next. Then add the mobile number that you would like to receive the multi-factor authentication code. Here there is no need to type the country code because the system is going to identify the country code based on the number that you are inputting, but of course you have the option to go in and change the country code from the drop down. Once you have entered your mobile number, click into next. This will trigger a 6-digit code to your mobile number. Simply type that code in the text field on your screen. Once you have entered the number, click into next. Lastly, the system will confirm the multi-factor authentication has been set up using mobile SMS. Next, all you have to do is to complete setting up the profile. Next up, let's take a look at how you can add multi-factor authentication in case you skipped this step at the beginning of creating your profile, because you can always add and manage your multi-factor authentication in D4H. In order to add multi-factor authentication, once you have created your D4H profile, you need to make sure that you are signed in to D4H. Then head over to the profile icon at the top and click into Manage Your Account. This will open up a brand new tab in your window where you can manage your multi-factor authentication settings. As you can see, currently the system says that I do not have multi-factor authentication in place. If that's the case, you can click into the update settings, which will trigger the multi-factor authentication flow. Just like at the very beginning of creating your D4H profile, the system is going to ask whether you would like to configure multi-factor authentication using the mobile authenticator app versus the mobile SMS. We always recommend to use the authenticator app because it is the most secure compared to SMS or any other method. So folks, you saw how easy it was for me to set up multi-factor authentication for my D4H profile. Despite the fact that this is going to add extra few seconds to your sign-in flow, but this is going to give you the extra peace of mind because your data is now secure and you have two-step verification in place in case your email account gets compromised. As always, thank you for your time, and if you've got any feedback for us, please send it our way using the email address help@d4h.com. I'll see you on another video. Bye for now.